What's up, everybody? I'm your boy, Jason Palmer, host of What's Up, Cuz, with my real cousin, Coach Lance Irvin. What's up, Cuz?
What's up, cuz? How you feel today?
I'm doing good today, man. I'm doing good today. Boy, we got a lot to talk about. Woo! All these sports started at once, Lance. I don't know what to talk about.
Hey, cuz it gets interesting every minute. There's so much going on. We have the Cardinals. We have my team, the Sky. We have NBA Startup. We have your Blackhawks, which I watched.
What?
Thanks for helping your cousin. You know what? I started to put my jersey on too today, but I went with the Brick Irvin volleyball shirt today.
Hey, you got to represent.
Shout out to your cousin.
Nothing wrong with that, man. Oh, man. Well, thanks to all of you who are joining us on YouTube, if you're looking at us on Facebook Live. But remember, download that app. It's SportsZone Chicago. You can download it on Amazon. You can download it on iTunes. You can get it on Google Play. All right? If you're also watching us on blackvibes.com, we appreciate that as well. We got so many ways you can tune into the show. And just a lot of stuff going on today. And usually Lance and I start by insulting each other and just talking stuff. But we can't do that today because we got a special guest who's coming on early. So I got to save my insults to the second part of the show.
I'm not going to get started. I'm not going to get started with you today.
Okay, don't get started with me.
I should, but I'm going to hold off like an older cousin should. I respect my younger cousin today.
Good.
But you know what your jersey is? Nice. That's a nice Blackhawks jersey.
I appreciate it. Well, let's get to our first guest because this brother is busy. He is busy, and he is doing one heck of a job. He's joining us from Florida, down in the Wubble. He is the general manager and head coach of our Chicago Sky, our first place Chicago Sky. Coach, James Wade. James is here. Where is he? There he is. What's up, Coach?
What's up, Coach? Man, great, Coach. How are you? You're doing a great job, by the way, and thanks for being on the show.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. It's been kind of wild, but you know, we hold head of water and trying to put some good basketball out there.
Coach, you got 2 days off here for the first time this season. Your team is currently 3-1. How do you feel about your team after these first 4 games?
I feel like we're coming together. One of the big things for us is that, you know, we're dealing with the injury bug a little bit with Stephanie being out. So we want our players to kind of, you know, find themselves and, you know, take the added responsibility and just run with it. But that's a challenge. I think every team is going to be challenged at one point or another. It's good to, you know, deal with this early and see how our team responds. But we're doing fine. You know, 3-1 is good. You know, we have the advantage as far as being in first, and you know, hopefully we can respond with a good game against Dallas.
Yeah, I know you've got the Wings coming up here tomorrow. Also got the injury report list today, and I didn't see one person's name on there who has been on there from the beginning of the season, and that's our favorite guard from Texas A&M. Are we getting someone back, Coach?
Yeah. So, you know, Sydney was in her first practice today. It was really good. She went through a few days of quarantine. So she looked good, you know, to be off so long. And that's just an added boost to the way we want to play. You know, she's a speedy guard, quick guard, great leadership coming off the bench. So, no, it's good. It's good to have her here, you know, and that's going to add to our rotation. So we were anxious about getting her here. Now she's here, and to actually see her in the Sky gigs actually exciting for all of us.
Coach, I've been following you. Like I said earlier, you've been doing great from one coach to another coach. Let me ask you a question. How have you been able to rest up and do other things? Because when we always talk to our players, we always saying, you know, it's a short season. You need to get your rest. You need to be mentally and physically ready to come out and play. But rarely do people ask, what do coaches need to do? So could you explain to me, what are you doing so you can stay physically healthy and mentally healthy?
Well, you know, that's what people have been asking me a lot. I've been like watching a lot of video of games, and I know at some point I'm going to run into like a wall because there's so much basketball going through my head. But right now I'm okay. I think at some point I'm going to have to just shut it all down. I guess, on an off day and watch movies or, go bike riding or doing something like that. Right now it's still fresh, where basketball is the only thing that, I'm thinking about. But I haven't ran into that wall yet, but I know it's coming. So I know it's coming, but right now it's still early. And I'm just so focused on trying to get us to where we need to be, that I haven't taken a break yet. But my wife is kind of warned me, like, you better be careful. So I know it's coming. So I have my Apple movies, waiting to be watched. And but it's not time yet. It's not time.
Make sure you listen to the wife, Coach, because remember, happy life.
That's right.
That's right.
And your wife can play too. Your wife can play the game. So make sure you listen to her. But, Coach, I think down the stretch, and I'm going to say we because I'm a Chicago Sky fan.
Hey, it's we have
had some great games and some tight games. Down the stretch, I think your play calling has been great. And when you played the other night, when you went to Parker, you shocked me on that. What was your mindset about going to Parker down the stretch? Did you like the matchup? What did you see?
Yeah, well, we like Parker. We think that, she's an underrated player, underrated talent. The play was it was a read to the other side. And so she read it. And she read it correctly because they actually junked it up on one side. And we thought that she had an advantage. I mean, she has a high skill set. And the thing that she's added to her game this year is the 3-ball and the ability to play make. And the fact that we have 5 playmakers on the floor, it gives us an added advantage,
Truthfully, I'm a little mad at you because when I watch you play, I wanted to go out and find me 5 playmakers too, which I went out and found some more. Because, I think you do a great job because you have length. And I know that you have length. You have 2 at every spot. When you built the team, were you trying to find length to everything? Because you have length, you have size, you have veterans, and you guys shoot the crap out the basketball. I think you shoot like 39% from the 3-point line. So when you put the team together, knowing you probably were a shooter too. Yeah. I didn't see you play, but you probably was a shooter too. But was those some of the things that you had in mind?
Yeah, like we wanted players. Of course, you always want athleticism, but we wanted players that can shoot and players that can pass. And I think if you cover all those, if you cover all those bases, then you're good. Gabby has an improved 3-ball. Cheyenne, we encourage her to shoot the 3. But that length and size, that athleticism on the wings on down is very vital, to be able to defend multiple positions and things like that and just bother players. Like, it's really important, man, especially where you see basketball going now. So, that's what we wanted. We wanted that size. We wanted that size and be able to shoot the ball.
Once again, everybody, we're being joined by the general manager and head coach of the Chicago Sky, James Wade. He does double duty. I'm going to start calling you double duty James, man. Coach, talk to me a little bit. We got the bright new shiny toys and, we're always talking about them. But I think an underrated part of your team, but a big core of your team is in Quigley and Vandersloot, those veterans, especially at the guard position. Talk to me a little bit about those 2 players in particular.
The fact that they, the experience goes without question, but the fact that they read and react so well, especially when they're very good at execution. I think that's when you have young players, sometimes, sometimes you want them to do things, and if they can't get what exactly you need to get done, they don't know where to go next. And so you can give them some things to do, and they read and react, and they do things off of it. They play so well together. And they both can shoot. They both can get into the lane, and they're smart players. So I think they're 2 players that have been underrated throughout their career. And I think the fact that we're winning games, people are starting to notice them and starting to mention them a lot more. And so no, I love having them because the trust that you have in them is it's just there. And me getting a chance to coach them all season long is really helpful too.
So, I mean, Coach, I think the Sky was really on a good track when we made it all the way to the WNBA Finals a few years back when they had Della Don and Swin Cash and Sylvia Fowles. Then, obviously, the team changed. It was turned over. There was change. You were brought in. What did you do from a general manager standpoint to try to reconstruct the franchise to get him back to a position where you got last year, where you got to the playoffs, and now this year where you're off to such a good start? What were some of the challenges you felt you had to face and get over?
I think when Della Don, when Sylvia left, it was a blow to the franchise. I think when Della Don left, it was a blow to the franchise. But they had good players, and you have to have I guess the confidence about yourself that you're good enough. And I think we had good pieces when we got the team. It's just that now you have to put in the work. And once you put in the work, then that's when the confidence comes. And what I try to tell them is, if our chemistry is good, the only thing we need is our will to be better than the team that we're playing against. You can beat anybody in this league, but you got to want it more than them. And so we had to show them how to want it more and how to want it more together. So you're going to see, a team that has a lot of chemistry, has team goals that supersede any individual goals. And so that's why you see all the excitement around our basketball, because they see how willing we are to fight for each other. And we have a never lose mentality.
I think too, Coach, like you just touched on, is team chemistry and watching your team play. I love the way they pass the ball. Vandersloot, Quigley, they all pass the ball. Is this something that you had to preach to them, or are they naturally just a good passing team? Is it that they care for each other, or is it something that you stress in practice?
Yeah, it's something we work on it every day. It's something that we work on every day. And stressing the chemistry part is like big. Like when I came in, like it's like we're family, and I don't take that word lightly. And we have to really act that way, even in moments of despair or whatever, even in the losing moments. Like, we have to be family. That's a non-negotiable, because we see each other every day. We're around each other every day, and we have to accept each other as we are. And we accept everybody's different. But the passing part of it, I think that goes with the chemistry. They want to see their teammates do well. And with their teammate, you're going to only be as successful as your weakest link. And so we don't want to have any weak links. So we want to see everybody do great.
Sure. Coach, without doubt. From a coaching standpoint, once again, ladies and gentlemen, we're joined by James Wade from the Chicago Sky. He's their general manager and head coach of our Chicago Sky. They are 3-1, and make sure you check them out tomorrow. They play the Dallas Wings. Coach, the games this year, because of all the pushes that were made by the players during the offseason in terms of their bargaining agreement, you're getting more media coverage. The games are now easier to find. They're on television. Talk to me just a little bit in terms of how important that is, not just for the Chicago Sky, but for the WNBA as a whole.
I mean, it's very big. It's very big when focusing and actually promoting women's basketball, WNBA specifically, because it's the highest level of play in the world as far as professional women's basketball in sport. And so, to see that, to have, it committed to, the fans, not knowing where their favorite players from college went, or, because they don't have enough TV coverage, is very important. And I think with this, progress that's being made, especially during this pandemic here in the bubble and things of that nature, I think it's only going to go up from here. But now you get to see, it's so many games, it's so many high level games, the games coming down to one possession, overtime games, and you get to see your favorite players making plays, and you see how great they are on this level and playing against other great players. It's only good. It's only good. And hopefully it doesn't take a step backwards if we ever do get back to a original sense of normalcy.
We will, Coach. We definitely will get back to a sense of normalcy. But
I hope so.
I was reading, Coach, and could you talk about the incident that you had on the flight when you were traveling with the flight attendant. Can we touch on that a little
Yeah,
bit?
yeah, man. That was a tough incident because, all I was trying to do is put my computer up, and and the lady that was in the front with me, she just looked back at me and just made some snaring comments like I wasn't supposed to be there, or I wasn't used to flying, I wasn't global enough, and I thought it was pretty interesting. Like, I have no idea who this lady is, and she's talking down to me. She's talking down to me over something that she wasn't a part of. Like, she had nothing to do with it. Yeah, it was just a lady in 2A or whatever, and I had no idea why she was talking to me. But when she started talking down to me, I just thought it was interesting. I was like, okay, if you're gonna say that about anybody, I don't look down on anybody who doesn't travel or who doesn't have things that I have. It's just everybody's equal. It's just always. But to say that to me and to not know me, and I'm probably the most global person she's ever met, and I'm not saying that in a bragging manner. I'm just saying, like, you looked at me and you judged me, and then the stewardess had her back. Like, she was like, yeah, she asked the lady, was she okay? And she said I was being aggressive, and I wasn't. They didn't know. What they didn't know is we were all in section in the front of the plane, in the business class, whatever. And we had 7 of our players there, and they all had on sky gear, and I didn't. So she didn't know that I was with them. And when the stewardess, was trying to, when she was dishonest, when she was lying about me to the captain, she didn't know that was my, she didn't know that I was responsible for the players in the front. Like, she didn't know. She just thought I was just some guy there, And so when she said that, all the players like, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. Like, why would you, why would you lie? And so she was shocked. And it was just a bad situation. And when the captain tried to justify it, saying, yeah, something went on in the back of the plane. It wasn't true. It wasn't true. And I had people in the back of the plane too. Like, our staff was spread in the back of the plane where it wasn't a lot of people. And so they knew it wasn't true. And so that was unfortunate. The airline called and apologized. And, they said that they would handle it. And, they offered me a $500 voucher.
No, they should have offered you a $5,000 voucher.
Yeah, but, I didn't take it, because my dignity is not for sale.
Right.
So I thought it was, and that even made me even more mad, but, I just let it go. I mean, if they told me they would handle it, and so I trust that they would handle it. But I explained the story, but it was really bad. And at the time I was hurt, I was upset, and it still hurts me. It hurts me to this day. But I kind of hope that they, take this time to actually second guess the stewardess, take their time to second guess the captain. And I hope they actually do something, so they can keep their $500, but we'll just go as it is.
Coach, the reason why, the story, I think, needs to be told. And I appreciate you for telling it to us. You wrote about it very eloquently. And that's where Lance and I have read about it. But I think people are still upset that players are taking a knee and don't really understand what it's all about. And it's incidents like that, which is why people are taking a knee. So for you, this incident happened as you all were traveling down there to Florida to prepare for the season. And then we all know that the WNBA has taken a very aggressive stance in social justice issues. We all are waiting for the arrests and convictions in this Breonna Taylor case, along with convictions in George Floyd as well. But to have that happen to you as you were on your way down there with everything that the team is doing, I mean, how did you spiritually deal with that?
It was tough, man. I mean, like, come on, man. Like, we have a purpose, and so it just hits you right in the face. Like, this is why you have a purpose. And you know, I'm normally a soft-spoken guy outside of the basketball realm. And it just you know, hit me in the face and said, hey, you have responsibility, you have a voice, and you have to make that voice be known and not worry about how uncomfortable it makes people. Because all we're talking about is equality and having accountability for actions, you know, for bad actions. Like, you know, everybody tries to make this movement out of something that it's not. And you know, you know, we've been wrong since the beginning of this society has started. So we're just trying to rectify that. You know, we're trying to rectify that. I'm not going to sit back and accept to be treated as less than. And I don't care what anybody thinks about it. I'm just as valuable as anybody else that's walking around this earth, whether they're a star or whether they're poor. And, you know, I just feel like everybody should be treated equal. And no matter what their color, race, creed, sexuality, whatever it is, everybody should be treated equal. And so now you see this movement that's like, now people are waking up, and I'm all here for it.
Coach, I'm watching the first game, right? You playing the Las Vegas Aces, which I'm a former Pistons fan, right? Love the Pistons. So you coaching against my man. Do you see how my little cousin shaking his head up there?
Really?
He's shaking his head. But you coaching against my guy, even though I don't know him, Bill Laimbeer. And one thing Bill Laimbeer started hollering out, he's crying about everything. He's crying about everything. Coach, do you think you cry about the calls? And I was wondering if you said something back to him. So let's talk about the trash talking between coaches, if there is any trash talking.
Man, I'm not worried about Bill, man. Like, he can, you know, be off in his corner. You know what I mean? It's whatever. Like, my thing is, we got to win, and he can say whatever he wants, but take that. You know,
take that back with you, Coach. Take that back. Hey, Coach, I didn't know Stevens was as good as she is. Yeah. And one thing that you've been able to do, like you said, it's about space and doing those other things, pace and space. I know you coached over in Russia and you coached in many other places. Did you learn some of those keys from being overseas? Can you talk about your offensive style?
Yeah, I mean, I think in Russia and in Europe and France, and, you know, me playing in Europe for a long time, you see playing for different coaches, working with different coaches, you see different styles, and it kind of molds you into the coach that you are, especially once you feel comfortable in a certain situation. And so our whole thing was about, you know, sharing the ball. On most teams that I play for in Europe, it's about sharing the ball. And putting teams and actions on both sides of the ball where they can have multiple threats, having people that can shoot the ball, and having post players that can create off the dribble. And so that's you know, that's all I've seen. Where you saw those finesse, like Dirk Nowitzki type post players that are really coming into fruition in the 2000s States. That's all I've been, you know, around or played with or coached while I was in Europe. And so having that type of style play, it kind of gives you a more multifaceted offense if you have a fourth or fifth player that can actually attack closeouts and come to a jump stop and pass and then attack another closeout. It gives so much space. So when you get a driver like Kalea Copper or Diamond DeShields or Gabby, they're getting wide open layups, you know? So that's what I like. That's what I've been used to. And that's what we look for when we're trying to, you know, when we're trying to scout and get players who come in our system.
We got a couple of minutes left here with Chicago Sky general manager and head coach James Wade, who's joining us. Coach, for those of us who didn't know you before you came here, what did you think when you came to Chicago for the first time, and has the city kind of grown on you and your family?
I was like, I had friends from Chicago. I had my mother's side of her family. She has like cousins and aunts that are here in Chicago. And so I've always, and I visited a few times when I was in college. And I was like, I always was a fan of, you know, Chicago, the city. I loved the Bulls growing up, of course. And I couldn't wait to get here. I just always heard about the, crazy winters or whatever, but I couldn't wait to get up here because I knew it was a city that was rich in culture, that had something that you can call theirs, whether it was the food, whether it was the music, whatever it was. You knew that it was a real rich city. And so I couldn't wait to get here. And so when I got there, like my son loves it. My wife loves it. We were excited just to be into that atmosphere. And we were like totally like beat that, we weren't able to be there again this year. But I was always a fan of like the organization too, because you had an owner that really supported women's basketball. So no, I love Chicago, and now I feel like I am Chicago, and I just want to bring a championship to the city, man. I just want to bring championship to the city. So because if we do that, that means we're always attached. You know what I'm saying? Right.
Yeah, you'll forever be remembered. Yeah. So last question for you here, Coach, and then we'll let you go. Once again, we really appreciate you joining us, and you've had your 2 days off in a row here for the first time since the season started. So yeah. I want you to be able to kind of enjoy it for us. But Chicago has got a strong basketball history. We have many basketball players, female basketball players who would come to do the Chicago Sky camps, in the summer and the spring. And unfortunately, COVID has taken that away from them. So for those that are watching, what would you say to our young Chicago female players who are watching the Sky and they're getting those dreams in their head and they're being encouraged? They want to play for their schools. They want to eventually play for the Olympic team. We had Cappy Pondexter here last week. What would you say to those kids who couldn't get into a summer skills camp this year?
The good thing about it is if you can get into a gym, even if it's with no one around, just get into a gym and go shoot and work on your skill set. Or if let's say you can't get a gym, if you can go in your front yard and work on your handles, just make sure you're getting the work in, because the work is where it counts. And got to understand, when some of the greatest players that have played this game, when they were coming up, they didn't have summer camps. They didn't have gyms. So they worked on it by any means necessary, whether that was dribbling the ball in their driveway for an hour, 2 hours, that's how they came up. And it wasn't any AAU or anything like that. So it's ways to get better, but you have to get up and do it, whether that's running down the street with a basketball back and forth, working on your game, where it's throwing the ball off the wall and jumping up and going to get rebounds. Like, it's ways to get better that some of the greats have done that didn't have anything to do with the gym, and you just got to figure out those ways. So it's out there for you. Just go grab it.
Well, Coach, on behalf of Lance and myself, we would really like to thank you for joining us here. We know we're going to have you back again. We're definitely committed to talking about the Sky, and you and your players are welcome to come back here anytime. You continue to stay healthy, keep the players healthy. We'll be watching, we'll be cheering, and best of luck to you as you go forward in this season.
Coach, I am pulling for you, and I think you're probably the best shooter on your team. I'll take you against Allie Quigley shooting any day.
Hey, man, take me, man. I'm telling you, you won't lose your money.
I like the way you talk. All right, Coach.
Coach James Wade. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, Jason. Thanks, Lance, man. Talk to y'all soon.
All right.
He's a great guy. A real great guy, getting a chance to cover this team, Lance. So we're getting ready to take our first break. We got a great show coming up for you. Our second guest is the legendary Kenny McReynolds. And he's going to be like, why Jason called me a legend? I mean, I'm old. But he is a legend. He's Kenny McReynolds. He's coming up right after this break on What's Up, Cuz.
See me. See me.
See me. See my dark skin and my kinky hair.
See me. Don't see past me.
Don't see through me.
See me.
See my tan skin and my curly hair.
See me.
Don't see past me.
Don't see through me.
See me.
See my face, wet with tears from years of oppression.
See my hands, weathered and worn from decades of pulling myself up through your society.
See my feet split from centuries of walking your delicate line.
See me.
See me.
See me.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
Welcome back, everyone, to What's Up, Cuz. I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, the coach, Lance Irvin. Coach, what did you think?
C. Irvin.
Oh,
Get the
Lord.
C. The C for champion. See, there you go. You starting already. But go ahead. Let me let you finish asking your question.
God forbid you don't get the proper introduction. What do you think of Coach Wade, man?
You know what? Great person. And I've heard a lot of great things about him. And I remember you were telling me some things about him. But great individual, well-spoken. I mean, I thought he was great, real knowledgeable. And kudos to how he handled that situation, too, on the flight with the flight attendant, Jay. Because it's easy to want to go off. But, man, I'm glad he kept his cool.
I am, too.
Kudos to him.
Because, I'm in the journalism business, and we know what the headline would have been. It would not have been in his favor. It would have been nasty. It would have been a mess. It would have been a mess. And, he did what he needed to do in the situation. They'd have been charging him with interfering with a federal flight and all sorts of crazy nonsense. But that's all right. We're going to get this championship. We're going to dedicate it to the woman in seat 2A.
Exactly, because he has his team, and they good enough to win it, Jay. I'm looking at Seattle Storm. I'm looking at the Phoenix Mercury. The Chicago Sky, they have a great team. We have veterans. You see I'm saying we.
Mm-hmm.
You see I'm saying?
That's right.
They have veterans. We have shooters. We have post players. And I forgot to talk to him about his defense. They play really good on defense, especially down the stretch. They're stingy on defense down the stretch. Those are the keys. They shoot it. They can run. They play with pace and space, and they're stingy down the stretch on defense.
Yeah, they are. So let's get to our next guest. We wanted this guy from the very first show when we did this, and he was on board from the beginning of getting him, and we were finally able to get him on the schedule and get him. I had written out this whole long introduction piece for him because he's done so much and he's meant so much to me personally. I've known him since I was a kid, watching him on TV, hearing him on the radio, BMX back in the day and all that stuff. And, I was like, man, we got to get this dude.
BMX sports.
That's right. That's right. And, I mean, Kenny can talk about anything. He is a true blood Chicagoan through and through. So I'm looking forward to these conversations we're about to have with him. Ladies and gentlemen, the legendary Kenny McReynolds.
Man, see, why you calling me a legend? That means I'm old. You calling me old, man.
I'm not calling you old, man. You're a legend.
Well, what I started when I was 10 years old. So
wow.
I was a baby when I started. So I'm not a legend. I just do what I do and just have a lot of fun doing it. And thank you guys so much for having me on this wonderful show. I have on my Chicago State Cougars green with my man Lance C. Irvin, who's going to, you know what? And let me say this, and this is me talking, and you guys, this is unscripted. If the administration at Chicago State gives Lance Irvin some help, and no administration in the last 30 years have given any coach there any help, Lance is going to do great things at Chicago State. but it starts at the top. It starts with the president. It starts with the athletic director. Lance can't succeed if they don't help him. And so I'm just saying, I hope this new athletic director, who I don't know, I hope he gives Lance everything Lance needs to succeed, because you and I know, Jason, he will and can succeed, but it begins at the top. And this is like the 10th athletic director Chicago State has had in the last 2 years. So, hey, we want them to give Lance everything he needs to be successful, because we know Lance is an outstanding, not only an outstanding coach, he's an outstanding man, and he'll make his young players better young men, not just better basketball players.
And I mean, Kenny, you've covered every sport imaginable in Chicago, from high school to prep to our pro teams. Talk to me a little bit about Chicago and just what makes it a great sports town in general.
Because Chicago loves hard, gritty, hard-working guys. To be successful in Chicago, you have to play. I interviewed Reggie Theus this afternoon, and he's talked about how much he loves the city of Chicago because they loved him. They loved him back because he went out, he played hard. And that's the one thing about Chicago athletes. Look at people like Derrick Rose. You know, he goes out and plays hard. Who played a harder and put on a better show than Isaiah Thomas? That's what makes Chicago so special. It's a blue-collar city, and it's one of the best sports towns around. I travel a lot. Man, you go to somewhere like Atlanta, they have great sports teams. Nobody shows up except for the championship series. Chicago, we show up. We support our teams. Blue-collar town, they love blue-collar workers.
And Kenny, I just want to thank you for being on the show first and foremost. And one thing I love about you, you gonna tell it like it is. So at the end of the day, also I wanted to wear my Brooklyn Irvin t-shirts. He told me to tell Uncle Kenny hi because you had her on your show years ago. So I wanted to wear my Brooklyn shirt.
Until I got my good hair.
We appreciate everything.
Brooklyn came down to my show, right, Jason? And I was talking about putting in my good hair. You know, you get the $20 bottle hair and the $40 bottle hair. And Brooklyn was impressed with the $40 bottle hair. So tell her I got the good hair in today, just for my girl Brooke.
I feel honored now, Kenny. You put in the good hair for our show.
Oh yeah, the good hair. The good hair.
Kitty Mac, she asked me, she said, "Daddy, is Kitty Mac gonna have his good hair on today?" I started cracking up. But Kitty, you so well-rounded in all sports, right? What do you think the state of Chicago sports is right now with the Cubs, the Blackhawks? You know, cousin Jason loved the Blackhawks over there. We have the Sox, we have the Bulls. Which franchise do you think is going in the right direction?
Oh, the White Sox, without question. And I'm a White Sox fan. I'm a diehard White Sox fan. I was born and raised in Wentworth Gardens, which is a block from Sox Park. But look at what the White Sox have done the last 4 games. They put it together. They got it going. Lewis Roberts in that outfield, along with Jimenez. Now Mandigo, you know, the rookie got his four base hits yesterday. The White Sox are going in a great direction. I'm so happy that the Blackhawks got it together. You know, you get this break. You didn't think you're going to get this 4-month break. They come out and they win their first ball game too. And the Cubs, you know, that window's closing a little bit from that 2016 team. Some of those guys are getting a little bit older, and you're not going to be able to keep them all. You can't sign them all. That window is closing. But I think if I had to pick one team right now on the way up, without question, in my opinion, it's the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah, once again, we're joined by Kenny McReynolds here. And funny you say that, Kenny. The results of our poll question last week, we asked which Chicago sports team is more than likely going to be the next team to win the championship. So here were our results. 62% of those who responded said the White Sox would be the next team to win the championship.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Followed by the Sky at 23%. And then the Cubs and the Bears tied at 8%. And unfortunately, nobody believed the Blackhawks were going to win. They got 0%. But based off of their performance, I can understand why people were thinking that. And to be truthful, Kenny, we didn't even put the Bulls on the poll because we already know everybody is feeling about them right now. And I know you have strong thoughts on that. What is going on with the Bulls franchise?
Well, I think they did the right thing. You had to get rid of the front office. I love Paxton. John Paxton is a really good friend of mine. I love Pax. I'm really close to his wife. you could keep Gar Forman. I can listen to damn about Gar Forman. But, hey, I tell it like it is. The thing is that it just didn't work. They didn't get it together. And Michael Reinsdorf, just like his dad, they're very, very loyal. But all of a sudden, a lot of red seats started showing up at the United Center that used to have butts in those seats. So Michael Reinsdorf said, I have to make a change. And John Paxson even went to him and said, look, we're not getting this done. Let's make a change. But here's going to be the key. Fans wanted a change, okay? We got to change. They go get Arturis, who's great. You go get Mark Eversley, who's going to be an outstanding general manager. You go get a great player personnel director. But you got to change the coach. Yeah, no, the players don't like him. He said some of the dumbest things in the world, like, oh, well, we lost by 40, but we won the third quarter. This ain't the CBA. Winning the third quarter doesn't mean a damn thing. So they got to make a change in the coach. If you change the front office and keep the same coach, you're still going to have a lot of red seats at the United Center, especially since the players don't like the coach. And they've made it out. They made it known they don't like the coach. The first week on the job, they had a mutiny against him. And now they're telling Arturis, we don't want this coach. We don't like this coach. So I think if they bring the same coach back, what's the big deal? It's the same thing. I think you're going to have a hard time selling that to the public. Okay, we got your new front office, but we got the same terrible coach. It's not a good situation. But let me tell you this. People are going to say, why don't they fire him now? Personally, I wouldn't fire him now. And let me tell you why. You don't know when your next game is going to be. So why pay two coaches? Because you're going to have to pay somebody to come and take over this franchise. And the coach you have now has 2 years remaining on his contract. So why pay a coach to come in and sit down and do nothing? Because you don't know if you're going to even have a season next year. When's it going to start? Will it be December? Will it be January? Will it be at all? So why pay two coaches when you could pay one bad coach to sit at home and do nothing? So like right now, I wouldn't fire him right now either, because there's no need to hire a new coach where you don't know when your next game is going to be. You have no idea when the game is going to be. So why pay a new coach $5 million a year and pay a bad coach $2 million a year? I would save the money too until we know when will the 21 season start, if at all.
You know what, Kenny? I like Coach off the court. I never had to play for him though. But where did you think this all went wrong though? I mean, was it like trying to put the time card in? And I know you touched on some of the issues though. Where do you think it all just snowballed?
Well, he thinks he's Greg Popovich because he works for him. That's all he talks about. The Popovich way. Pop did this. Pop did that. Oh, well, you ain't Popovich. And you ain't got Tim Duncan either. So be yourself.
Right.
Well, I mean, hey, if you got Tim Duncan, you can do the Popovich way.
Right.
But just be yourself. Go out and just remember, hey, look, I have to listen to my coaching staff. I got to get a good staff together and go out and do it. And, if the guys are going to mutiny against me and boycott practice, maybe I'm doing something wrong. I know he's old school, but remember, this is a new school generation. I like the old school way. I've always taught by Ray Meyer, basketball was inside out, but you have to change the times now. Now basketball is outside in, but I don't think he changed with the time. I think he kept his old school ways, and all he talked about is Greg Popovich. But hey, if I got Tim Duncan, hell, I'll be Popovich too. I would.
Tell it like it is.
Hey, give me Popovich and Tony Parker. Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Like Phil Jackson. Hey, like Phil Jackson, man, that triangle works real good when you got Horace, Michael, and Scotty, or Dennis, Michael, and Scotty. And then you go over and then you get Shaq and Kobe. When he went to New York, didn't have no talent. The triangle didn't mean a thing. What did the triangle mean in New York?
You know what? Let me add this, and then I'll let you go ahead, Jay, because I see you itching to ask Kenny Mack a question. But you know what a lot of coaching is, though, Kenny, that you talked about without saying it, is dealing with personalities.
Yes.
How will you handle the personalities? How can you blend them all together and still get done what you wanted to get done and what you need to get done to win? And I think a lot of time coaches, we drop the boat because we try to make it more than what it really is. It's a different mindset. You still talk to the kids. You still can mentor them. You can still nurture them. But with that being said, though, you have to understand them. And that's a part of coaching. Dealing with personalities.
You know who told me that? When Antoine was at Kentucky, I had a lot of talks with Rick Pitino, and he told me, I know who I can push and how far I can push him and who I can't push. Well, he knew he could push Antoine. He could call Antoine and yell and scream at him. He didn't care. But other guys, you may have to let back a little bit, because if you push them too much, they break, and you never get them back. So you have to know what you can do, who you can do it with, who you can push, and who you can't push. That's a great point, Lance. And of course, you're a D1 coach, and I'm sure you know the guys you can push and the guys you can't push.
Kenny, I want to talk to you a little bit just about what is currently going on with the COVID-19 as it relates to sports in general. Obviously, the big news of the day is the number of players on the St. Louis Cardinals and within their organization. We've already had the situation with the Miami Marlins. The NBA and the WNBA and hockey chose to go with the bubble philosophy. Major League Baseball didn't. NFL is not choosing to go with that philosophy as well. What are your thoughts on trying to play these sports during this pandemic? Should we even be trying to do it at all? And if we should, how should we go about it?
Well, I actually don't think we should, but it's all about money. Especially from the owner standpoint, they want that TV money, especially the NFL owners. They don't care about a bubble. All they want is that TV money. As you know, your NFL, your salary, your payroll paid in full without selling one ticket from the TV money. So they really don't care about the fans because they got the money from the TV to take care of the salaries. But I don't really think we should be playing. Baseball is my favorite sport. Everybody thinks it's basketball, it's baseball. But I don't see how we're going to continue baseball. Too many people are getting sick. Basketball, the 22 teams down in Orlando in a bubble. The WNBA, they're in a bubble. See, and hockey, they're in a bubble. But they don't have as many teams and as many players. With baseball, there's too many places, too many teams that know where to play, that you could put them in a bubble. If you can get them in a bubble and keep them in there, that would be great. But football and baseball, there's just so many teams and so many players, there's no way you could put them in one small bubble like the NBA has done and the WNBA, what they're doing right now. And I wish I had a chance to talk to the Coach Wade, man, because I need some new Chicago Sky gear. And he's a big Good Times fan. When you have him back, ask him about Good Times. He loves the TV show Good Times.
Oh, man, see, Kenny give a tip. That's why you a legend. See, you're not old, you're a legend.
Hey, Lance, you got to do me a favor.
What's up, Kenny? What's up, Kenny?
You go to the office tomorrow, and of course, I don't know your new AD. I love the Emil Jones Center. What a beautiful facility. But you guys got a $2 scoreboard that never works. Can you ask him to get you guys a new scoreboard? One that actually works.
You know what, Kenny Mac? I'm going to ask the AD if he wants to be on your show. You need to invite him on your show because everybody that comes to Chicago is on your show. And you do an excellent job keeping us on your show. From the Irvin family to Marcus Liberty to Walter Bond, Reggie Theus. I mean, you do a great job doing that. But going back to the bubble theory, Kenny Mac.
But you got around that question real nice.
No, I learned from the best.
Yeah. And I didn't mean to put you on the spot. That's me talking. That's me talking, not you. So that's if your AD is watching, get a new scoreboard, one that works. What to do? You got $10 million arena and a $2 scoreboard. Come on, man. Give Lance something to work with. That's my guy. Well, anyway, what's your question, Lance? I'm sorry.
But getting back to the bubble, what can be done for baseball though? Right? I mean, I just heard it's like 13 St. Louis Cardinals. Like, if they were to finish the season, I don't think they can finish it. But how can they finish the season? Maybe that's a question that can't be answered. But because it is tough.
And Lance, like you said, there are too many teams and too many players to put them in a bubble. They got 30 players on the team, or 32 teams. That's a lot of people. Well, basketball, everybody didn't make it, and the WNBA only has 12 teams. Hockey, everybody didn't make it to the bubble. Baseball, trying to get their regular season in, I just don't think you can put them in a bubble because where are you going to put that many ball players and that many teams inside somewhere? I like that they're going to try it, but I just don't see how they can finish it. I really don't. And I don't think they should be playing. And I love the idea of letting guys opt out if they want. And those guys won't get their salaries, but they will get time served towards their pension, and it won't be held against you if you decide to pull out.
So let's move to football, because everybody knows this is a Bears town. Training camps set to open. They canceled the entire preseason, which is the first sign that you probably don't need to be doing this. But we know they're going to push forward anyway. The Bears have already had players opt out. We're starting to see more NFL players opting out before the season as well. What is your outlook for just the Bears in terms of the talent they already have? We did bring in another quarterback that tried to challenge Trubisky, but he's kind of a journeyman. What are your overall thoughts of that franchise?
Time out. Try to challenge him, not to cut you off. Try to challenge him. You're not talking about Nick Foles. I know you're not talking about my guy. Go ahead, Kenny Mack. I apologize for interrupting.
Nick's going to challenge him. Nick's going to give him a challenge. It would really been great if you had a preseason this year to challenge him, because last year none of the starters played in the preseason. But I think the Bears, if we get some play from the quarterback, I mean, Mitch, he's average at best, but he only had a few reps in college. So you knew it would take time. And we won't talk about the two brothers that they passed on that are now, one's winning a Super Bowl ring and making $500 million, which is probably why the Bears passed on him anyway, because they weren't going to pay him. And they knew that he was too good. They got to get something from the quarterback position. And I think the play calling last year was so predictable. I think that Matt Nagy's going to have to go back to his bag of tricks like he did the first year. This last year, he was so predictable. But if the play calling can get a little bit more imagination, and we can get a little bit more out of the quarterback position. But with Goldman opting out on the defensive line, that's going to be a big hole to fill right there, man, because he's one heck of a ball player. But they could make the playoffs. I think they could if the season is completed, which I hope the season is completed, which means this coronavirus thing has been settled down.
But I think it's tough when you just thinking about the Patriots. They had 8 people opt out. Dante Hightower leaving $8 million on the table. $8 million on the table.
I wish I could do that.
He leaving $8 million on the table to take his $350,000, which he's going to get. But Kenny Mack, if you were 27, 28, and they asked you to play, would the young Kenny Mack play?
No. Not if I had the $1 million already in the bank, and that $8 million that he's going to lose, he's going to write off with income tax as a work loss. So you're going to get it back anyway. You're going to say, I lost $8 million. So you're going to write it off as a loss. If I had money in the bank, no, I wouldn't play. If I young and didn't have money in the bank, I probably would play. Unless my accountant assured me that we can write it off as a tax loss, then I would just sit back, and my health is more important than anything. And I'm glad a lot of the guys are opting out, because it shows that they're thinking more than about just sports. It also shows me they probably did a good job of saving their money.
Once again, we're joined by Kenny McReynolds. Kenny, let me ask you this one. The IHSA made the decision last week to push back some fall sports. Some fall sports, they are going to continue a little bit, but the main one they pushed back to the spring is football. Now, we know you all host a high school sports show. What is this going to do for your show? Because I know football is a big part of the content. And also, what do you think of the IHSA decision overall?
Well, first of all, the show goes on. If I have high school sports or not, I can get Lance to come down and do a show with me. So we're going to the show will go on. The show will always go on. That's for sure. The IHSA, I don't think they had a choice. They're trying to save the season so these young men can play and maybe get some late scholarship offers, because, if you're really good, as Lance would tell you, we'll wait for you. But a lot of guys say, hey, I want to go. And a lot of guys are transferring now. Say, we're going to go to another state where we can play, graduate early, start college in January to get into the weight room. And a lot of guys want to get those scholarship opportunities. Well, I think playing in the spring was a smart thing to do, maybe the only thing to do, because it would give us the time to get a vaccine for this horrible coronavirus. All it's going to take is one person to get sick on a football team for people to yell at the IHSA saying, hey, you shouldn't let them play football as a contact sport. guys are sweating on each other and they're all touching each other. So I think it was the only choice that they had to make. But the show will go on. We'll find somebody to come on the show, man. It could be the Kenny and Lance show. Lance will come down every week.
No, Kenny, Corey Irvin won't let that happen.
We know
Kenny
Corey's
and Corey
on.
Irvin show. Kenny and Paula Irvin show.
Yeah, Corey and Paula, they're my girls. See, they take care of me, man. And, boy, hey, man, Jason, look, I was sick one day, and my family was gone. And he said, well, Kenny, you're going to go to a nursing home. You can't go home by yourself. I called Paula. Paula, she said, come on, man, we'll have room for you. And we'll make room. And, 2.5 years ago when I was extremely ill and everybody thought I was going to die, I actually died and came back. Corey came down to the hospital, man, and she spent what we thought was my last day of my life in the hospital with me. So Corey and Paula always got a spot on the show, man. Ain't no problem there.
Right. And Kenny, a lot of us knew about the health challenges. Talk to me a little bit about going through that and then coming out of it.
Oh, the one when I died?
Yeah.
Okay. I had a tumor on my arm right here. I don't know if you can see the scar right there.
Yep.
So it was a big giant tumor. So we take the tumor off. Then the doctor told me I can go home. I said, man, I don't know, man. I don't feel well. I don't know. Maybe I should stay. No, you can go home. So I go home. 2 days later, I'm deathly ill. Man, I'm had a fever was up to like 104. Man, I'm throwing up. I didn't know who I was. They rushed me back to the hospital. I had like 20 IVs. They called in a crisis team in the room, and all these doctors are looking at me. I think most of them didn't need to be there. They just want to send me a bill. The one lady doctor said, I don't know what to do. I said, you're asking me for? Hell, I don't know what to do either. And, you the doctor, what you're asking me for? And so I felt myself getting really weak, and you're hooked up to the heart machine, and the cardiologist guy yelling at him, said, hey guys, his heart rate, he's down to 10, he's down to 4. And then I remember being down to 4. And next thing I know, I heard a doctor say, let's call it official date of death, October 2nd, 2017. And I opened my eyes. Oh, that's a shame. Somebody died. Who died? You. I said, no, I didn't. And it was probably the scariest thing. My life, it was very scary. I was extremely sick. When you get a temperature up like 104 like that, I was extremely ill. I was in the hospital 17 days. But to actually hear those words, and I never want to hear those words again, official date of death, when you're talking about me. That's not a thing that you want to hear. But thank God, and I'm very blessed that I survived it. I'm very thankful every day that I've survived it. As Lance well knows, I've had 42 overall operations, not even counting that situation being in the hospital 17 days. But I'm here. Thank God that I'm here every day. And I'm a real big fan of Bill Withers' song, It's a Lovely Day. I play it every day, especially when I wake up. It's a lovely day. Every day is a lovely day.
Yeah. We got about 30 more seconds left in this segment.
Okay.
But Kenny, I still got some stuff I want to talk to you about in terms of the media and high school sports in Chicago. Can you hang on with us after our commercial break and come back and talk about that subject?
All right.
Because I just think it's such an important subject right now in what is going on in Chicago, high school sports and the media coverage. There have been cuts all over the place. And, it's important that we cover these young people in athletics. It really is. So we're going to take a commercial break. We'll be back on What's Up, Cuz. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody, to What's Up, Cuz. I'm your host, Jason Palmer, and I'm joined by Lance C. Irvin, my good cousin, who's with us. Our special guest this week, Kenny McReynolds. You can check out Kenny on Sports Edition on WCIU. Whether they're high school sports or not, Kenny having a show. That's what he told us. Kenny having a show.
Oh, we got a show. We got a show. Believe me, we got a show.
That's right. That's right. The show guy, keep going, Kenny. Right now, though, I'm going to bring in, we've changed things up a little bit for this week because we had some guests had to change some times. I'm going to bring in Joseph Phillips from the Chicago Crusader with us right now. He's usually on with us at the top of the show. There he is, my man, Joe. What's up, man?
What's up, guys?
Joe, get a shirt that fit, man.
What's up, Kenny?
Kenny told you get a shirt that fit and stop wearing a shirt.
Kenny, don't y'all see?
Kenny, the last time you saw me, I wasn't married, brother. I'm married now, man. So my wardrobe is changing a little bit. So don't hate, brother. Don't hate.
And he has his Peloton bike right there, too.
See, he eating a little more now. That's what it is.
Right. I'm doing 3-course meals now, bro.
Oh, okay. That's what it is.
Popcorn.
Okay.
No more microwave popcorn, bachelor's life.
I heard that.
You trying to show off them pecs or something.
The guns, baby, the guns.
So, Kenny, before we go on the break, so here's my thing. Okay, I got into journalism my junior year at Chicago State, and I learned journalism but I learned the business and how to actually create and write a story while out on deadline by watching other reporters who came to cover Chicago State games. So Bill Joust, Lynn Zine, all kind of took me under their wing and showed me how to do a couple of things. People like Larry Gross, who was at the Chicago Defender, you and Jeff Blaney, for what you guys do on the TV side. Most people break into this business because they learn how to cover high school sports, Kenny, but now we're seeing at the Tribune and the Sun-Times, they're not hardly covering the high school sports. They're only covering boys football, and they're only covering boys basketball, which is just enraged Corey Irvin. Talk to me a little bit about our industry and the media, and Joseph can appreciate this too. And what are we doing that is wrong by not covering these high school sports? What do you think is going to be the long-term effect?
Well, I think the one thing that I'm sad about is because there's a big fan base out there doing high school. Of course, at WCIU, we do high school football and basketball live broadcast, and also on CNN 100. There's a big following out there and a loyal following. You talk about people breaking into the business covering high school sports. Look at Fred Mitchell. Fred Mitchell used to be a prep writer for the Tribune, and he went on to have his own column. I started out doing nothing but high school sports. It is a tremendous thing to do. And you get to know these youngsters when they're young, nice. They're not the pros with the egotistical. They're happy to get the coverage. Parents love it. And it just breaks my heart to see the Sun-Times and the Tribune not doing high school sports at all. And girls basketball or tennis, remember track and field?
Yes.
There's a lot of high school athletes that go out there and give 110%, and you wouldn't even know it at all unless somebody's parent or athletic director calls you up and will tell you about it, where in the old days, you had tons of stories. I mean, who was more popular in the city of Chicago than Taylor Bell was?
Yep.
Taylor Bell, he did such a great job with high school basketball, but he did other high school sports as well, although basketball was his baby. But he had a story and a column and a notebook every single day. We knew what this guy was thinking. We knew where this guy was going to go. We knew where this guy was going to take a visit, and it kept us involved. And when you go to these high school football games, especially in the suburbs, there's 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 people there. You go to basketball games, you can't get in. There's 5,000, 6,000 people crammed into a gym. People love high school sports, but unfortunately, with today's society and the budget cuts, we're losing it. And I think a lot of our youngsters are not getting the press that they deserve. And also, some coach may pick it up, but somebody, I didn't know this guy. Okay, let's go see him. And you never know. Lance may pick up the paper and say, oh, man, Joe Smith is at so-and-so school. Let me go over there. I didn't know this. Let me go see him. Some of those guys slip through the cracks. Not many, but some of them do. But, man, it breaks my heart to pick up the paper and not know all of the scores and see nothing about the girls' games in there.
Mm-hmm.
And, what about track and field? I'm a track and field guy. What about baseball scores?
Softball.
What about baseball? Softball, right. And it's a shame that our student athletes are not getting all the publicity that they really, really deserve, because they work extremely hard.
Totally agree. Totally agree with Kenny. Just when it comes to how does that affect Black athletes' lack of press, Kenny, when it comes to not getting the necessary coverage that's needed?
Well, again, I think it could go back to scholarship opportunities. If some guys fall through the cracks, and if you don't get the press and get that recognition that you could get, that maybe everybody can see, that hurts a lot. And I don't see why our African-American athletes always have to be the ones to suffer. One thing I'm so proud about our game of the week, we go everywhere. We go to suburbs, we go to the city, football and basketball. We go inside of the classroom. We always try to highlight positive things. Even on Sports Edition, we worked closely with CPS to get student athletes on TV. Derrick Rose will tell you, he learned how to can do interviews by coming on my show in high school. We had him on a lot. We worked with him on how to conduct the interview. Things like this are very beneficial, especially, I think, to our young African-American athletes.
All right, Ken, I got the $1 million question for you. $1 million question. I'm going to test your sports knowledge here.
Uh-oh.
Let me see. You've been covering Chicago sports for about, 25, 30 years, Kenny Mack? Maybe.
Okay, about 10, 15 years.
Yeah, right.
Who's the best press athlete you ever covered? The best prep athlete you ever covered?
Athlete.
You're going to have a lot of people mad at you.
Not basketball player. Total overall
right.
athlete?
Yeah.
Overall athlete.
Antoine Randall.
Ooh. Yeah. He did do a lot of Thornton now.
I thought you was going to say Ben Wilson, Marcus.
No.
Go ahead.
Ben
I'll let
Wilson.
You roll with that.
No, you said athlete. You didn't say player.
You did.
Yeah. Oh, the best basketball player we saw was Ben Wilson, hands down. I mean,
athlete. I said athlete. Great
athlete.
answer on your part. Go ahead. Break down Antoine Randall because he was a great athlete now.
You know what? He played basketball. He played football. He could play baseball. I tell you what, it's Antoine Randall and Ty Streets. Those are the best athletes. Ty Streets jump out the gym. I did the state championship games where he jumped over Kevin Garnett down in Champaign and dunked over him. Antoine Randall was just a tremendous athlete. He could do so many things. He was fast. He was strong. He was smart. He was a complete athlete. But now, as far as player and basketball player, I mean, I tell people I never hesitate. Ben Wilson was the best basketball player I ever saw. And I'll take him. And I saw LeBron James in high school. But Ben Wilson could do so many things, handle the ball. He was Magic Johnson with a jump shot. And remember, people used to walk around the south side of Chicago like this. Ben had them long fingers. Ben had them long fingers and a jump shot. I mean, you see people walking like this. And the long fingers hanging down here. But best basketball player I ever saw, without question, Ben Wilson. Best athlete, it'd be Antoine Randall. But Ty Streets, maybe like that close. Best winner I ever saw, it's got to be in that athlete category too. No question, the best winner was Quinn Buckner.
Oh,
nice. I wasn't covering sports then. I remember just watching him play.
And you know what's funny about that, Kenny? The three players you mentioned, Ty Street, Antoine Randall, Quinn Buckner, two of them played at Thornton. Quinn played at Thorn Ridge, all out there in the south suburbs. And I think a lot of people outside Chicago, they focus on just the players from Chicago. But if you include our metropolitan area, I mean,
unbelievable.
Up to North Chicago or Waukegan, or you can go out west to Proviso East. I mean, the whole area is just loaded with talent in a bunch of sports. Give me the best female athlete you ever saw come out of Chicago in high school.
Athlete or player now?
Athlete. We're going to stay with athlete.
Okay. Help me. She played for Corey.
Somebody Whitney Young?
Amanda. What was Amanda's last name?
Thompson.
Amanda Thompson. Best athlete, yes. Best player, Candace Parker. Best athlete, Amanda Thompson. Amanda Thompson, she was an unbelievable athlete. She was a pretty good player too. And had a great career. But man, she was strong. She was quick. She could jump. She was an athlete. She may have been better than Antoine Randall, but she was an athlete. She was an athlete. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
she
no,
was.
yeah.
She
was a tremendous athlete. But as far as players concerned, female, I would go with Candace Parker.
Okay.
Gotcha. Taking Candace over Cappy Poindexter, huh?
Yeah. That much.
Smart man.
Not much.
Everybody is this much, Lance. Remember that.
Everybody's that much.
Everybody by that much. I got one last question for you, Kenny. Once again, we appreciate you coming on. And check out, please, everybody, check out Sports Edition. It's a really good show. And, Kenny has a lot of athletes from all over the Chicago area on that show. So please check it out when it comes back on. What's your start date, Kenny? You have one yet?
We don't have the start date yet, but hey, man, the reruns are good too.
Oh, there you go.
The reruns, man.
That's right.
Hey, man, we rerun like Harold Baines.
There you go.
Baines did a whole show. So the reruns are good too. The station is closed, so we haven't opened the station yet. That's why we're rerunning. But I've been doing things on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel, which you can subscribe to. Please, free. And like this week it'll be Reggie Theus. I did Isaiah Thomas last week.
Nice.
You did Zeke last week? Nice.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Run the reruns. Run the reruns. Get that residual money, Kenny. Tell them to pay you them residual fees too.
Hey, man, they ought to pay me up for the first run. Forget the rerun. Pay me for the first run.
So I guess my final question for you, Kenny, is you've seen it change through the years, how players are recruited. Obviously, it's more now on the travel ball scene as opposed to the high school. But you're also seeing the athletes now specialize in a sport at an earlier age. What are your thoughts on today's youth athletes specializing in a sport, almost like right when they get into high school?
Yeah, I'm kind of old school. I like playing more than one sport because suppose you're not successful in one sport. And I think if you play more than one sport, you're always going to be in great physical condition. I think if you can play more than one sport, you should. But I really have no problem with the specialization. I'm old school and think everybody should play more than one sport. But you're right now, once guys get into high school, football coaches don't want their guys playing basketball. Basketball don't want their guys playing football. I'm old school. I like you can play both, but I really have no problem with the guys specializing in one, especially let's take a guy like Derrick Rose. He could have played football, but obviously he's going to be an NBA player in high school. So he stayed away without getting hurt to specialize in that. And that was a smart move. But either way, I'm okay with it.
Well, Kenny, once again, thank you for coming in and joining us. And we really appreciate it. And, again, on a personal note, you're one of the people who I've always looked up to in this business. And I appreciate everything. You would just pull me off to the side, give me some pointers. And I know you do the same with Joseph. And see, I know you do that with a lot of people. And I don't think you get credit for that. And I know you're doing it out of love. And I just wanted to tell you, personally, I appreciate everything you and Blaney told me when we were sitting up there in that press box at Gately, freezing our asses off because they ain't had no heat.
Well, hey, no heat. You're right. We done a lot of games at Gately on TV with no heat, boy. I'd be like, will y'all hurry up and get a running clock, man?
Right.
But hey, I want to thank you guys for having me on the show. You guys do a tremendous job. It's great to see African American men get together and talk sports, and I really appreciate the invitation. And whenever I'm available, if you guys want me, if I'm available, I would love to come back. And Lance, we're going to get your athletic director on my show because I need a new scoreboard in that beautiful arena at Chicago State. That 2-cent scoreboard ain't worth a damn because it don't never work. And we want to say Cougars, not home and visitors, So we want to get you a new scoreboard. And I want to get all the help we can to help this young man out of Chicago State, where he will not only make your student athletes better basketball players, he'll turn them into tremendous young men. And that's the most important thing for a coach. And I have all the faith in the world that Lance Irvin is the right man to do that, providing he gets help from the administration.
Thank you, Kenny Mack. But hold on, though. I always got to ask one parting question. Jason, that.
Go.
Who's your favorite Irvin to cover? Lance Irvin, Byron Irvin, Mike, Nick, Corey Irvin?
Easy.
That's easy.
Irvin?
Come on.
Easy.
I'm waiting.
That's easy.
I'm waiting. Listen to this,
Corey and Brooke. My favorite Irvin to cover.
Wow.
I'm confused.
He went with Corey Hairbrook. He went with your daughter over you, man.
hey, man, Brooke was a heck of a volleyball player, man. She's on scholarship now.
That's right.
And you know, Corey is always gonna be top notch with Corey. She kept spending time with me in the hospital. Right. And actually called me up and had me come over and get some ribs on the 4th of July. Man, you know I'm Corey's my girl.
You know what? Hey, Jace, cut Kitty Mac. I love Kitty Mac.
All right, Kitty, now you gotta go.
Cut Kitty Mac. Kitty, I love you.
Thanks,
like
man.
family. Thanks for everything. Thanks, Kitty Mac.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you guys.
All right, bye-bye.
So much.
All right.
Continue success.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
That was a legend. Kenny McReynolds. Uh-oh, we lost Joseph. Oh, there he is. All right. Yeah, Joseph. But we can't get rid of you that quick.
Before we get started now, Joseph,
join us.
If I'm not your favorite Irvin Joseph, we're going to have a problem.
Hey, brother. Hey, man. All I got to say, shout out to Lance. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. Are you the only Irvin with a sports show and played? So I think that's the first, right?
There you go.
Thank you, T. You made me feel good. I feel good now. All right, Joseph, let's go. Let's go.
Shout out to Nick, too, man, because Nick always covered Nick. So Nick is a cool dude.
See, there you go.
Wait. Hey, I got a story for Nick, man. When I was working overnights at CVS, Nick used to come in and grab some snacks, man. So we used to always do something, man. 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. You know? So shout out to Nick Irvin, man. Shout out to Nick, bro.
And Nick wasn't grabbing some. He was grabbing all the snacks. I know my cousin. Come on now.
But you know, Nick was sharing his snacks, so he's probably sharing with somebody. You never know.
Joseph Phillips, sports editor for Chicago Crusader. He joins us this week. He usually joins us at the top of the show, but we had Chicago Sky head coach James Wade on earlier. So Joseph agreed to rearrange his schedule and come up out of Tennessee and come back to Chicago, put on a shirt his wife got him, and join us there. Joseph, what you got going on this week in the Chicago Crusader that we can read about?
Oh, man, everything's great, man. I'll talk about that huge White Sox victory on yesterday, the 9-2 blowout against the Kansas City Royals on yesterday. The young man, I said Grandal, no, not Grandal, but
Madrigal.
Man, yeah.
Madrigal.
Yes. He had 4 hits yesterday, produced pretty well, you know, got his first major league hit after, you know, struggling his first 2 games after being called up in the majors on Friday. And then also I talked about the Cubs victory that took place on Saturday. 11 Ks by Tyler Chatwood, who was having an amazing season, pretty much dominated throughout the game. In addition to that, I did something on Black Business Month with Representative LaShawn Ford, in addition to him honoring guys such as Craig Hodges, you know, Ruben Norris. I know he was out there, Bobby Simmons, and Mickey Johnson. So actually I talk about that. And in addition to that, the Blackhawks, you know, I know we were talking about the Blackhawks a little bit, but them pulling off a 6-4 victory over the Edmonton Oilers, being one of the low seeds in the NHL playoffs, and still able to produce. The captain, Jonathan Taves, scoring 2 goals. So those will be the 4 stories for this week coming out in the Chicago Crusader. Yeah,
you got a busy schedule there, Joe, and you know, LaShawn Ford honoring those people, kind of like just what we were talking about with Kenny McReynolds there. You know, Chicago's got a rich tradition of just athletes, and, you know, Mickey Johnson out of Robeson, Craig Hodges out there in the south suburbs out of Rich East. I mean, you cover a lot. I know you do a lot of work for Crusader, and you've done some work in Hyde Park. You've covered Kentwood a lot. You know, just in the early parts of your careers, what have been some of the stories that have kind of stood out in your mind, Joe?
Oh, man, bro. I mean, like, I watched Kentwood grow from the ground up, even though Whitney Young and Simeon is like their nemesis. But no offense to the Irvins. I know about the Irvins. Okay, Morgan Park too, because I know they've always been in the way of Kentwood. Because I know when I'm covering them, you know, it's like they always come this close, but they lose to them. You see what I mean? So with me, when I was covering the boys, I watched the Kentwood basketball team grow from absolutely nothing to a coaching change and Marlo Fenner taking over, and then taking them to the championship game and actually losing to Simeon, at Chicago State. And I think that was 2015, I believe, 2015.
Okay.
Then watching the girls basketball team last year, covering them, losing the semi again, falling short, but B winning young in the Final Four. So, that was an amazing experience. And then also just covering lacrosse, covering hockey for Mount Carmel, covering Ed Howard. Like, I can tell you a story with Ed Howard where I got a call. They was like, hey, man, go check out Ed Howard from Mount Carmel. So I took my scooter through Hyde Park because I got my little scooter. I jumped on the scooter, rode up to the park over there on 63rd Street, and the PA announcer says, up the bat, Ed Howard. The second pitch, Ed Howard took it to right field over the wall into the Stony Island Terrace, like right there. As soon as I showed up, I was like, this kid's going to the major leagues, even though most people already knew about him, but that was my first time seeing him since Jackie Robinson West.
Sure. And, that's kind of the thing about being a high school sports reporter. You get to see them as they develop. It's kind of like what Kenny McReynolds was saying. You get to see them, and the great ones always stand out, no matter what sport it is. They stand out at an early age. One of my good friends who I went to Chicago State with, Michelle Dickens, she actually had Ed Howard as a student when he was back in the 5th grade. And she told me I could see then that kid had just a different level of talent compared to the kids, his age. But some of the other stories you're working on, Lance and I are going to talk about the Blackhawks a little bit later here, but let's talk about your Cubs. I think your Cubs have come out and gotten the fast start. I think they've answered the David Ross question on would he be able to manage this team after playing for the franchise. What is your thoughts on your Cubs? And you got room to gloat here because they've been off to a really good start.
Wow. I'm so proud. Right?
Yep.
I'm so proud of the Cubs, but I'm also staying humble because I've also seen collapses, So my whole thing is it's a combination of discipline when discipline meets talent. Prior to David Ross joining the team, I know that Joe Madden, he had a more hands-off approach. And he allowed the players to self-govern and stuff, but you only can do that for so long before, the teams will get a little bit out of control. So they ended up catching up with Joe. Not saying that Joe Madden coaching style didn't work. He was an excellent coach. He got us to 3 straight NLCSs, and got us the opportunity to, win at a consistent level. And also got us our first World Series in 108 years. So he'll always be remembered like Coach Ditka, he'll always be remembered as one of the greatest coaches in Chicago history. But with David Ross, on the other hand, like Sean was saying earlier, when Rossi was in the locker room, Joe Madden was the good cop and David Ross was the bad cop. He was kind of like, hey, I know Joe said we can play with the zoo animals and everything, but we got to get serious. We got to get focused. So let's take this game and win it. You see what I mean? Like, let's not play games. We coming out here to win every game. I meaning, like, take every possession. Don't take no plays off. No botching ground balls. Follow through. It's 100% fundamentals. You see what I mean? So David Ross brings accountability to the Cubs now, and you can see it in their play. Just even the other day, I don't know if you watched the game on Saturday, Javi Baez laid down a bunt. When the last time you seen Javi Baez lay down a bunt, in a situation where he just disciplined himself, executed the bunt, moved around us in score position, and then someone came up behind him and drove him home. So what I'm saying is that these are the fundamentals of baseball that the Cubs are going back to, which actually got them the World Series championship, because one of the main things that they did during that World Series years, they were working the counts from top to bottom. They leadoff hitter, they 2-0 hitter, they number 3 hitter, they cleanup hitter, they situational hitters, Ben Zobrist, etc. So they're bringing that same discipline back to the lineup, and now you're starting to see the effects on a daily basis with our record, which is 7-2 and currently first place in the NL Central Division.
My man Joseph, let me call you JP. But JP, you talking about fundamentals, correct? Can you hear me? Can you hear me good?
My name JP too, but go ahead.
Joseph Phillips, let's talk about fundamentals real quick.
Yes.
What are we doing with our bullpen?
Ooh, okay. Well,
What fundamental changes are we making? My goodness.
Well, David Ross got a simple rule.
Kimbrel?
Yeah, David Ross got a simple rule though, because Kimball about to lose his job. Jeffries. Have you watched Jeffries pitch? The brother.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's serious business, brother.
I like him.
So Kimbrel, he on the clock right now. Even though he got a huge contract and he's trying to work out his kinks, but right now, Jeffries is that man. Eventually, if Ross doesn't see improvement from Kimbrel, you're gonna see Jeffries in that closer position. And then in addition to Jeffries, we got our relief pitchers also who can come in and do a little, and Wig, and we got a few more other guys that can actually get outs. But what's happening with the Cubs now, we're getting good starting pitching. Because
you know what? Let me say this. While you're talking about starting pitching and Rossi. One thing Rossi has been doing that I love, he asked Lester. Lester was rolling pretty good, but Rossi thought he was a little bit tired. So he did like most good managers do. I think I could be wrong. He went out there and said, "What you want to do?" I think Lester said, "I'm rolling. Let me go."
That's right.
He said, "Okay." He let him go. I think he got him an inning or two later, but he looked at him. See, that's giving the kid confidence. I should say kid. That's giving a man. That gave him confidence. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was just thinking about that because what he did, that's gonna play huge dividends down the line.
Right, that's true, and and you got to look at Lester and Ross's relationship. That's his buddy. That's his best friend. Along with what's the guy's name who used to play for the Cardinals? John Lackey. John Lackey. They all hang together. Lester, Lackey, and Rossi. So actually, they recruited Lackey from the Cardinals the following year, which has actually put us over that World Series hunt, 2015 to 2016, because Lackey was like that third, fourth, or fifth starter that we can entertain.
That we needed.
That we needed. So now you're seeing that these old relationships coming back again. Like you're seeing them reconnect where their nonverbal communication is on a high level. And another strength that David Ross have that he teaches other guys, they know how to steal signs too. So when you got a catcher,
like that.
I know, right? When you have a catcher as a coach, one of the things they master in is stealing signs. They know how to read the pitchers. I mean, I saw them throw out a couple of guys already, and they've only played 9 games already. So I saw Yu Darvish throw out a guy at first base. So I was just like, wow, I never seen Yu Darvish throw out a guy.
Hey, I tell you what though, Wilson Contreras, Jay, I'm not trying to cut you off.
Yeah.
You. If I had him catching me, I could give a guy a couple of steps on their lead off because all I know is this: when it gets to him, he has a rifle and he's throwing you out.
Yeah, I think Contreras neutralizes a lot of running games. Which is why I'm very interested to see the White Sox and the Cubs this year because the White Sox do have a lot of team speed. And they are going to use their legs to get in a little bit better position to score. We've got a minute left in this segment. We're going to keep Joe over for a little bit longer, though, after the commercial break. But let me ask you this, Joe. In that National League Central, obviously the Cardinals now are dealing with their stuff with COVID. The Brewers lost some games because they were supposed to be playing the Cardinals. That's who we consider to be two of the biggest threats to the Cubs in the NL Central. Cincinnati hadn't really lived up to their billing yet. Real quick, who do you see giving the Cubs a challenge in that division, if anybody, right now?
Well, the team that we fear the most, that we think that's coming for us, and it's almost like that movie 300 where, after they took down the Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, and then here comes the rise of the Persian Empire, you see what I mean? So I have to look at Cincinnati as that next threat because right now they have a stacked lineup from top to bottom. All they need is starting pitching.
Okay. All right. So he's got the Reds, and that was actually my pick to win the division. So we'll see. We're going to take our last commercial break of the show, and then we're going to come right back with Joseph Phillips here on What's Up, Cuz?
See me. See me.
See me. See my dark skin and my kinky hair. See me.
Don't see past me.
Don't see through me.
See me.
See my tan skin and my curly hair.
See me.
Don't see past me.
Don't see through me.
See me.
See my face, wet with tears from years of oppression.
See my hands, weathered and worn from decades of pulling myself up through your society.
See my feet split from centuries of walking your delicate line.
See me.
See me.
See me.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
Welcome back, everybody, to What's Up, Cuz. I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with the coach, Lanny Irvin, and we are joined by Joseph Phillips. He's a sports editor at the Chicago Crusader Newspaper. Remember, the Chicago Crusader Newspaper, they are our partner in producing this program, is Dorothy Lavelle. Visit them at www.chicagocrusader.com. Fellas, let's talk about some other topics that are going on here in sports. A lot of stuff we can kind of go into, but let's talk about tennis. Tennis, anyone? Lance, I called you on the phone last night. I was like, they playing team tennis. It's Team Chicago and Team New York battling for the championship. And I tell you, it came down to a ball that landed in by literally like 1/8 of an inch. They had to go to the replay, and that's what gave New York the championship. What did you think when you were watching that, Lance? Uh-oh, you muted, Lance. Oh, look at him. See, he done hit the wrong button. There you go. Come on ahead, man. Look like you had a great thought, too.
You know what? I was hoping it was out because I was cheering for Chicago hard.
Right.
Once you told me it was on, I didn't know the game was on. But the ball was so close, and I was sitting there like they had battled back from what I was hearing, back and forth, back and forth. Shout out to my man, Kamal Murray. But he put Sloan Stevens in. Oh my goodness, Jay! Like Joseph, for a ball to be that close, that's a terrible way to lose a game. I tell you that. I'm still feeling bad for them because one more inch, the team would have shared $1 million. That's y'all know how I feel about my money. So $1 million, Jason, we splitting.
Yeah, that ball was it was really an incredible tennis event that they had put on. They've been doing this thing for the last 3 weeks. It'd been like 60 matches or something. It came down to Chicago and New York battling. And, Kamal Murray, he's from Chicago. He's from Chicago. He's got Evan King. He's got Taylor Townsend. And he's got Sloane Stevens, who won the U.S. Open a couple of years ago. So I thought, team tennis was something really unique. And I was really glad to see the amount of Chicago people who were participating. And that's a show we're working on bringing to you because I don't think how a lot of people know how many African Americans on the pro tennis tour are from Chicago who are out there on that tour. You got Donald Young Jr. who still plays. You got Evan King, Taylor Townsend. I mean, it's a lot of Chicago people who are out there playing. Right. So, it was just a great event. Let's go to the next topic. I want to get Joseph in on this. We touched on it a little bit earlier. The Blackhawks came out on fire against Edmonton. And, we had Jamal Mayers on the show last week, and we asked him what it would take to win. And he said the key was, getting the power play going and staying out of the box. Mm-hmm. And, that's basically what I saw happening, Joe, and why the Blackhawks were able to beat Edmonton.
Yes, excellent power play. They played, they jumped out early, actually, thanks to Jonathan Taves, 2 goals, in the first period. And I think it's Zubiak. Is that correct? Zubiak, one of
Kubalik.
the guys. Who? Rubik?
Kubalik.
Okay, Kubalik.
There's a bunch of vowels in there.
Yeah, I'm learning these names, brother. I'm learning.
Join the club.
Kubalik, he had 2 goals, and he actually set some Blackhawks records. I think he passed Steve Farmer as one of the first rookie in franchise history to score 5 points in the opening game of the Western Conference Playoff Series, and then in addition to that, like I said, man, he was setting up, guys like Taves, setting up guys, just put them in position to produce. So a rookie doing that on a big stage against, I guess, the 5th seed in the Edmonton Oilers, and the Hawks are currently the 12th seed. So at the end of the day, if they continue to play the way they are, they're going to shock the world.
I think, Jay, the one thing that we talked about when Jamal Mayers was on there is like when we asked him the question, what would you do, or what things did he think the Blackhawks needed to do? He said, man, we got to keep him out the power play. Mm-hmm. And I think the goals that Edmonton scored were on their power play. I remember calling you during the game, and you and I were talking. I was like, Jay, they got to keep him out the power play. And you was like, cuz, you was exactly right. But no, at the end of the day, I thought Kubalik had a great game. And I think if we don't turn the puck over, then I think we in great shape. But it's like you were telling me, Jay, like we was talking, man, we got to continue to put pressure on Edmonton.
Yeah, I thought the Blackhawks had a really good puck possession game. One of the ways you can beat a team with a high-powered offense is, Lance, don't give them the ball. If we're talking football, you run a time control offense. You can't score without the ball. I think they did really good in just possessing the puck. They didn't turn it over in their zone a lot. I thought they had a good forecheck going on. And to me, it looked like Edmonton came out and they were skating in mud because the Blackhawks were flying by them. And I was like, man, I didn't see this pep in our step all season long. So I thought that was really good. And another thing, Jamal had talked about, Corey, and Lance, you asked him about Crawford and how would they do if Crawford wasn't in net? What did you see from Crawford during that first game?
You know what? I thought Crawford was excellent. Like I said earlier, if we can keep him out there power play, I think Crawford can continue to be that stabilizing presence in there. But the one thing I'm concerned about, Jay, is that you remember I asked you, I said, Jay, should we get Subban in, give him a couple of minutes? Because I don't want Crawford to get tired. I mean, the score was like, what, Jay? I think we wanted to say it was like 6-2.
Right.
So I said, man, do we want to give Matt Subban a couple of minutes just to get him used to being out there, get him lathered up after being off for so many months? But I thought Corey Crawford did an excellent job, like the veteran he is. He's one of the best goalies in the league for a reason, and I think he has to continue to be strong back there.
Yeah, there was one goal that he gave up where he went down, and he had plenty of time to get back up into his position. He looked really labored. And I think that's always going to be my concern with Crawford because he's got the history of the concussions. And then, he had COVID for Christ's sake and joined the team. So I'm pretty sure he's not in top-notch condition, especially after the 4 months off. But I thought he played a pretty kind of strong game. Also in that game, Joe, we saw Jonathan Taves, the Captain, El Captain. We talked about the veterans. What did you think about his play during that game?
Well, I think he actually set the tone for the team because, like I said, the Hawks came out aggressive. They were skating fast. They were moving the puck. And they were putting each other in positions to put shots against the goal. And like I said, they call him Captain Serious. And there's a reason why they call him Captain Serious because he never takes any plays off. He loves to follow through. He's always playing at the highest level. And when Patrick Kane is not producing at the levels that he normally produces at, you always got JT on the side ready to go, Mr. Consistency.
Hey, Jason, let me ask you, because you're the big hockey fan. Now, Jason, Edmonton is high power now.
Yeah.
What are we doing in game 2, or am I jumping ahead, hockey guy?
You're not jumping ahead. I'm concerned.
Okay, because they started slow.
I know for sure you did not see Edmonton's best game. Mm-hmm. I thought they looked really slow coming out from the start. I thought they were losing loose puck battles. The Blackhawks seemed to just want it more. But in the regular season, the Blackhawks did beat Edmonton. So this could also be a situation, Coach Lance, that sometimes there may be a team that you have more talent, but for some reason they got your number. and they just find a way to beat you. So, you know, as a Blackhawks fan, of course, that's what I'm hoping, that this team, we just got this team number, you know, but it's a best 3 out of 5 series. I will have a better feeling about this series after tonight's game. I think both teams needed that first real game to kind of get the bugs out. And we'll see what Edmonton brings, because I can tell you that was not their best game. They got a lot of talent, and I'm a little nervous about tonight. Puck dropping at 9:30, so I'll be up late. I'll be going into work late and drinking a lot of coffee because I'm watching this game. But, you know, it was nice to see, because that is the way a lot of people have felt the Blackhawks could be playing all season. I thought they've played down most of the year. But, you know, we'll see what happens. You know, it's a series. But we'll see what happens. Let's jump to some NBA. It was so much going on this weekend. Oh, my God, these games were just going back and forth. The Boston-Portland game yesterday was just unbelievable, and I know, Lance, you were watching that. I know you in basketball overdrive, Lance, so just tell me, what did you see from these first regular season finale games that we're seeing kind of going on here?
You know what I saw? I saw a couple of things, y'all. Number one, TJ Warren, 53. I'm just sitting here like thinking about how many guys went for 30 this weekend. Porzingis, Dame, TJ Warren. Like, guys really getting 30. Doncic getting 30. Guys getting 30. I shouldn't say easy, but relatively easy. And the thing that I'm looking for is this. They saying the Lakers. They're saying the Lakers started off slow. They struggling. But I think LA needs a point guard. I like Brown, but I think Brown is getting overworked. And I think that, you know, without having Rondo, or hopefully they will get Rondo back, I think that would definitely help. You know, the Clippers, you know, it's hard to say because Lou Will is not there. So if they get Lou Williams back, Montrezl Harrell back, the Clippers back to being the Clippers, they just missing some pieces though. But the team, you know, Jay, I always talk about couple of teams. Is that I'm looking at Philly, who you always killing Philly because you said they arguing you and Joseph.
They were fighting in the game the other day.
Philly fighting in the game. So I can't even Joseph. I can't even. And the one team I'm really, really thinking about is the Miami Heat. Like I think the Heat might be able to tip on in there and make some noise because you got the leader in Jimmy Butler. You got Bam Adebayo. I love him. Kendrick Nunn is having a great year. Duncan Robinson is like one of the best shooters in the whole league, like a Division III player, transfers to Michigan for 1 year. Now he's one of the best shooters in the whole league. So I think they might have a chance though. So I mean, it's funny, but I was happy it was back because I'm sitting there watching TV. I'm like, man, I couldn't get enough basketball. I'm like a kid in the candy store. I'm still talking.
I saw a little bit of the Philly game, and when I turned them on, Joel Embiid is like cursing out one of his teammates during the timeout. I was like,
Milton.
I didn't even watch a quarter of the game, and you fools are already sitting up here arguing.
Hey,
that's why I can't pick them, Joe.
Hey guys, they've been watching The Last Dance. I'm telling you, man. They was watching. I'm telling you what these guys was doing. Like, most of these guys watched the 10-part series of The Last Dance, and they took a lot from that, a lot of these guys, and now they're starting to implement it into their leadership roles. So the times when you had a chance to take the plays off during the season, like it's a short season, now I'm about to turn the MJ on you. You know, like all the team leaders are taking this new approach, this new mindset after watching The Last Dance. And most people said that was actually coming because they was like, man, we didn't know they balled like that in the 90s. We didn't know how hard it was to win in the 90s. We're not going to take it for granted, especially during a short NBA season. So I think all of the teams' mentalities are changing. They're starting to develop this killer instinct in each of the games where people are competing at a high level. They're not taking any plays off. They're going hard. And it's almost like watching high school basketball. Every possession is played with passion, care, and most importantly, it's about winning.
All right. Joseph Phillips, everybody from the Chicago Crusader. Thank you for joining us, Joseph. Appreciate it. We will see you next week. And remember, check out Joseph's work at the Chicago Crusader, ChicagoCrusader.com. And Lance and I will close out the show here. Coming back. Thanks a lot,
Hold
Joe.
on, Joseph. You know I get the last question, Joseph.
Okay.
Did you bring my information back?
Yes,
don't
sir.
act like you don't know what I'm talking about either.
Yes, sir. Yes,
what
sir.
information am I talking about, Joseph?
You really talking about the actual log cabin out in Tennessee, right?
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll text it to Maya, and she'll pass it along to you.
This ain't got nothing to do with Maya. You call me yourself. Maya might take the deal herself. I love Maya, but Maya might be a little bit selfish. No, thank you, Joseph.
Yeah, she'll get that information to you for real, though. I remembered you, too. I was like, I hope Lance reminds me. So, yeah, I'm going to follow through. But God bless you guys. Enjoy the show. Great show.
All right. Take care, Joe.
Thanks for being on, Joseph.
Once again, everybody, don't forget, download the app, the SportsZone Chicago app. You can download it on Google. You can download it in Amazon, iTunes. Go ahead and download that app. Ton of sports information throughout the day. You can get all the breaking news that's going on. You can watch our shows. And, we got a lot of good shows on this network. And definitely want you guys to check out all the shows. We're going to have the Humidor guys come on the show here in about a week or two. Their show on Saturday afternoons is hilarious. I love it. We got B and Gian, just so many shows. And, make sure you visit us on blackvibes.com/SportsZone Chicago. You can check out our shows there. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Remember, you can watch all of our podcasts if you miss one right there off of YouTube. And we also got a Facebook page as well. So, Lance, for this weekend, I was in straight overdrive. I told the wife, I gave her a warning, Thursday night, I ain't gonna have time for nothing this weekend, babe. I love you, but I'm about to have baseball, hockey, basketball, tennis got thrown in the way. I was like, I can give you an hour or two a day.
I mean, Jay, it was so crazy. I'm calling my players, calling the recruits. I'm watching tennis. I'm watching basketball. I'm watching hockey, learning something new. Baseball, I love baseball. So it's so much going on, Jay. And then we battling with the COVID.
Yeah.
Like the Cardinals. We dealing with that. Will they play? Won't they play? Then we dealing with college sports. Will we play? Will we not play? And stuff like that. So it was so much going on. What's your thoughts on the college sports season, Jay? Will they play football or not?
Well, I mean, we already know they've canceled the college football season for the D2 and the D3 schools. Many of the volleyball programs in D1 are not having a season. Some are having their seasons pushed back. Mm-hmm. Division I college football, they're going to try to give this thing a go. I think I'm not optimistic it's going to work because I think they have less resources than the NFL, and I don't think the NFL is going to work. So, everybody loves football in America. It's the popular sport. Baseball is America's game, but football with everybody watching. They can say what they want. Everybody watching football, whether it's the D1 college teams or the pro teams. And, it's sad, but this is about money. This ain't about the student athletes, and that's disappointing to me, but that's the reality of the situation. I don't see there being a college season. I don't see there being an NFL season, but I do think they are going to do everything they can to try. And if there is not a death or a serious injury where somebody loses a lung, they're going to keep this thing rolling until it gets to that point. That's pretty sad.
I mean, Jason, when you think about it, in the NFL, it's over 50 players that have opted out with more to come. So it's serious. And the one thing about a 16, 18 game season is that COVID is not leaving anytime soon.
Nope.
And with that being said, there's not a bubble for those guys to stay in. I think the NBA did it right, or at least it seems like to this point they did it right. But it's so many players on NFL roster, Jay, 53 people. How can you do it? And that's probably one of the most physical sports that you could play in. So, I mean, I'm like you. I think it's going to be tough, Jay. It's tough. And we all do like football. There's nothing better for me coming home on a Saturday after practice watching a college football game. Now, I tell Paula on Saturday during college football season, don't speak to me until 9:30 at night, okay? Because I'm watching my football. And I get the evil look, but then I tell her, well, you know what? Let me go buy you that never full Louis Vuitton purse. And I get a smile out of her.
I hear you. I mean, shout out to all the wives. And I did a commentary on WVON that ran on Friday. And I mean, we got to give a shout out to all these wives, but I just told her, hey, I ain't had no sports in 4 months. I've been good. We done spent a lot of time together, and I loved every minute of it. But, sports is back. I'm still going to spend time with you, but sports is back. And the funny thing is, when I talked to all my friends who are married, they all told me the same thing. Yeah, man, I told mine too, girl. I'll see you on Labor Day.
You know what? But shout out to my wife, Paula Rice Irvin. I definitely need to tell her shout out. She is the best. She's been married. We've been married going on 24 years right now.
Man, you coming up on the silver anniversary?
Oh, I'm coming up on the silver, but she does a great job around here. She understands now, but she's quick to tell me too now. Don't bother me. I'm watching Lifetime. Don't bother me. Brooke and I watching Married at First Sight. So don't bother me. So she
my wife like that show. What is it with that
two-way
show?
Street.
90 Day Fiance or one of them things.
Oh, Jay, I tried to talk to her in Brooklyn the other day. They were so wrapped up in this show. They was like, why you so loud? I was like, I'm talking to Cousin Jason. But still, why y'all so loud? No, so shout out, Jay. But what you think about baseball though? Cause are they gonna finish the season?
I don't know, Lance. So one of my friends, Leticia Kendrick, shout out to Leticia. She's a hardworking Chicago public school teacher over there at Simeon, electrical shop teacher. Does a lot of work with our kids in our community. Love Leticia.
Great.
She asked me that question today. Do I think they're gonna finish this baseball season? The baseball fan in me is saying go. The human in me is saying, will y'all please shut this down before we have a national tragedy on our hands? I think baseball made a mistake in that they didn't follow the NHL and the NBA and WNBA and create a bubble. And so people and I've listened to a lot of sides of this debate. A lot of people said, Jason, they couldn't do that. It's too many players on a Major League Baseball team for you to put them up, somewhere and create a bubble. I disagree with that in this sense. I think it could have been done because they do spring training in Arizona and they do spring training in Florida. So I think you divide the teams half and half. You put half in Arizona, you put half in Florida. Those are Major League rated facilities in terms of the fields. Mm-hmm. You work something out with the dugouts and transportation, and you get the games in those two states. And you put everyone in a bubble. I mean, I think for the most part, the NBA bubble has been successful. You had a couple incidents. The WNBA bubble, they haven't had any incidents. We've talked to them a lot. You had some problems with the women's soccer down in Orlando. A whole team had to be eliminated, the Orlando team, because someone broke the protocol. But I think baseball went about it wrong. I think if you want to give yourself the best chance, you got to do the bubble and do it. And the same thing with football. I just don't think football can be done because it's too much of a contact if you put these guys in a bubble or not. It's blood, sweat, mucus, all sorts of stuff flying across the field during the game. And then you got to worry about the coaches. You got to worry about the trainers. You got to worry about the physical therapists. It's too many people. You asking for it. But it's the sport that makes the most money, so I think they're going to try. Do I think baseball season is going to get to the end? No.
I mean, Jay, I'm just sitting there like, okay, how are you going to keep changing schedules? Like, I don't think the Cardinals playing this weekend. I do not think they're playing the Cubs this weekend. I mean, every day it went from 2 to 4. Mm-hmm. Now it's up to 14. Tomorrow, some more is going to come. So, okay, I don't think they're going to play the Cubs this weekend. So now, do you flop teams? So say if the Cubs play 60 games, say if the Cardinals play 50, how you going to say who's who's the conference champs.
Yeah, and that's the challenge. There's only so many makeup games they can do. And one of the ideas they floated around this week is that they're going to play double headers for these makeup games, and the games will just be 7 innings. So it's kind of like what they do in the NCAA college. A team may have a double header. You play 2 7-inning games.
Mm-hmm.
That could be what we're seeing. And I just feel like you're going through all these hoops. You're going through all these desperate measures. And the thing I've taken away from all the scientists, and I'll quote Dr. Fauci here, the virus dictates. The virus dictates. We can come up with all these crazy solutions and theories, but the bottom line is the virus is in control of this. And I just think we as humans just don't want to humble ourselves to anything. But the virus is what's in control here. And, until they get a vaccine, which everyone is willing to take, because that's the other problem. They call it a vaccine. A whole bunch of people I know are like, how many trials did y'all do on this?
Your cousin? No.
Right. And then, you got the whole Tuskegee thing that happened in the day, the black people. So, we like, man, I ain't trying to be the first in line with this vaccine. Y'all let this thing go for about 6 months, and then I'll get in line then. But, it's just so much going on with this vaccine and this virus. I'm chill. I basically do my stuff with my wife. I stay in the house. I'm not seeing friends or family. I went to a funeral a couple weeks ago that I really needed to go to, but we masked up and got out of there. I'm humbling myself right now. I'm cool working from home and chilling out with my wife and doing that stuff. But, not everybody feels that way.
I think just for sports being able to be played, just having some games it's been great, because it's tough to pull it off, and it's tough for players to stay disciplined. For that amount of time, being away from your families. I mean, that is tough. I mean, I stayed away from mine for a couple of weeks, and it was tough just doing that. So I understand some of the things that they going through, but I commend the NBA, the NHL, Major League. I mean, not Major League Baseball yet, but they're gonna have to figure that out. But the NHL, I think what they tried to do with doing so far, Jay, I think it's been good.
Yeah.
So let's see though. But your Blackhawks playing in a couple hours? The Blackhawks.
Yeah, we drop it at 9:30, so it'll be interesting. And I definitely don't want to end the show in these last 2 minutes without talking about what is going on in the world. Just the social justice efforts that you're seeing. Matt Dumba, the Minnesota Wild, took a knee at the hockey game. And you had Malcolm Subban from the Blackhawks and Darnell Nurse of the Edmonton Oilers. They didn't take a knee, but they just put their kind of hands on the shoulder. And a lot of people were saying, no, hockey is never going to do it. Hockey put big Black Lives Matters up on the scoreboard. It was actually a big tribute. What do you think, just real quick in this last minute, about what we're seeing social justice-wise in sports?
I think it's great. And from what Jimmy Butler did the other day when he came out there with no name on his jersey, and his reason was because at the end of the day, I'm a black male. People don't know me when I'm driving my car. So he said, I'm like everybody else that gets pulled over, everybody else that gets stopped. So what's happening these days, people using their platform, speaking out for the least of these. Because, man, I commend all of them. Because right now, Jay, we in trying times right now. And I'm glad that we're not letting it go away, because so many times we let stuff go away. But I'm glad that we're not.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. My final thought, kind of on this subject is that, for years we've wanted our athletes to do more in the community and to stand up. And now that they're doing it, they're getting a lot of backlash, which was their reason for why they weren't doing it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important that the community stands by them, that we support them as they're doing these things. And I see that. I see a big change coming in this country, a big change coming in this world. But I think it's going to get real nasty here in the next couple of months and leading up to this election. So we all just got to stay the course, and just keep moving forward. But, that's going to do it for our show. I just want to thank everyone for joining us. Lance, thanks for coming on. Again, Kenny Mack was great. Joseph Phillips and Coach James Wade. I'm Jason Palmer. Right. We will see you next week on What's Up, Cuz. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Peace.